Words of joy and hope. It is the second Sunday after Christmas, Book of Sirach, chapter 24, 1 to 8, 12. And the commentary is by Father Fernando Armelini. A good Sunday to all. The liturgy proposes today the prologue of the Gospel of John that we already heard during the Christmas Day Mass, and also the same Gospel during the last day of the year. And it has already been commented on video. Therefore, if someone wishes to listen to the explanation of this Gospel text, can go directly to the Christmas video for the day of Christmas. And for today, I thought about commenting on the spiritual message for this Sunday, taken from the first reading. It is taken from the book of Sirach. It is a book much appreciated by the Hebrew tradition and widely read in the early church. Who was Ben Sirach? He was a teacher of wisdom who lived in Jerusalem at the beginning of the 2nd century before Christ. He opened a school in Jerusalem to educate young people, educate them in the wisdom of Israel. Ben Sirach was a wise man, and when the Bible speaks of wisdom, wise people, it is not about scholarship, culture, technical or scientific knowledge. Wise was the person who acted sensibly, who opted for good options in life, and for this, not only in Israel, but in the entire ancient Middle East, nothing was more appreciated than wisdom. The person who knew how to behave as a true man or as a true woman at all times and in all circumstances, this was the wise person. This wisdom was widely cultivated in the ancient Middle East. So one of the friends of Job, Eliphaz, came from Teman, which was the place where wisdom was valued more than pearls. We also remember Solomon's dream in the mountain of Gabon, when God had said to him, "Solomon, ask me what you want." And Solomon did not hesitate for a moment. He did not ask for wealth, victory against enemies, fame, success. No. Solomon asked for wisdom, and the book of wisdom puts in his mouth, the reason for the choice that he has made. I preferred her to scepter and throne, and deemed riches nothing in comparison with her. Nor did I liken any priceless gem to her, because all gold in view of her is a bit of sand, and before her silver is to be accounted mire. Beyond health and beauty I loved her, and I chose to have her rather than the light, because her radiance never ceases. Yet all good things together came to me with her, and countless riches at her hands. Wisdom 7, 8, 11. Wealth, honor, happy life are the result of a life guided by wisdom, gift of God. In fact, Solomon concludes in Wisdom 9, 6, "Indeed, though one be perfect among mortals, if wisdom who comes from you be lacking, that one will count for nothing." Where do we have to go to learn this wisdom that guides a person's life? From where can we an application for our life? What is the interest of wisdom? Knowing how to live, giving meaning to our existence. Or we can turn to the reality of this world and we depart from those values on which life must be popped up, of the meaning we give to our whole life. What are we doing in this world? If we ignore this question, we renounce to what characterizes us as a person, living, following wisdom. But where to find this treasure? What were the dreams of the youth of Jerusalem at the time of Ben Sira? I think that their dreams were to go to study in Athens, where one could know the philosophy of the Stoics or the Epicureans, or maybe Alexandria in Egypt, where one could see the lighthouse of Alexandria that was one of the 7 wonders of the world. There was also the large library that collected all the wisdom books of the world at that time. The dream of the youth of Jerusalem was certainly to go to study, to seek wisdom in these famous places. Ben Sira, on his book, does not despise the present wisdom among the pagans, but he wants his students to become aware of the fact that in their own people, superior wisdom is present. The wisdom that has been given by God. People seek wisdom, but if this wisdom comes from God, if it is revealed by Him, then it is a wisdom where truly one can put foundations for one's life. How has God offered this gift? He has offered it, first of all, in creation. In fact, He did everything wisely. Thus says the book of Genesis. And God saw that all He had done was good. He did it wisely, with one goal. He prepared very well the house for His sons and daughters. And the book of Proverbs says, the Lord has founded the earth with wisdom. Every creature has a very precise position in God's project. And because that universe is made wisely, people can claim this wisdom. They can make the project their own, the project that God has about creation and about humanity. Humans are the kings of this creation. Who gets this wisdom? Scientists study the laws that govern the created things and aim to put the created world at the service of people. That's their goal. What they do is beautiful, but if he or she is not a believing person, they will not be interested in wisdom. That is, they will not seek the design of the Creator. The creatures will not tell about God and His love. They will only try to understand what has been created. This is their goal. That is the goal of science. It is not the scientist, but the contemplative who knows how to interpret the message of love that the Father of Heaven has sent through the beauty of His creatures. They were created wisely. And those who discover the design that God has on the world discovers also the wisdom with which He has done it. Remember what the book of Proverbs says when He established the sea and its limits, when He laid the foundations of the earth. Wisdom was with Him as the architect. This is the wisdom you see in the background, where the Creator embraces wisdom in this magnificent fresco of the Sistine Chapel at the moment when the Creator forms the first man. Observe how with the left arm He hugs a young woman. It is wisdom with whom He made all creatures. Everyone, anybody can hear the language of the created. Anyone can understand it. It is not mysterious. So Psalm 19 says, the heavens proclaim the glory of God, the firmament proclaims the works of His hands. A report goes forth through all the earth, their message to the ends of the world. 19:2 and 5. But for this it is necessary to have attentive ears. to know how to listen to this language. And this message is heard by the contemplative. The ancients were even more people than us when they could hear the singing of the stars, the dialogue of love of the stars. So the book of the prophet Baruch says, "The one who knows all things knows her. He has probed her by his knowledge. Who sends out the lightning, and it goes, calls it, and trembling obey him, before whom the stars at their posts shine and rejoice. When he calls them, they answer, Here I am, here we are, shining with joy for their Maker." This is Baruch 3, 32, 35. The stars that promptly follow the order given by the Creator. This poetic image is very beautiful. The blinking of the stars which read this contemplative as a hymn of glory to the Creator. Now Job chapter 12. As the beasts, ask the beasts to teach you, the birds of the air to tell you, or speak to the earth to instruct you, and the fish of the sea to inform you. That is Job 12, 7 and 8. It is the language of creation that speaks. The birds of the air, the reptiles, the fish of the sea. Which of all these does not know that the hand of God has done it? It's in verse 9. It is the invitation we are given to welcome the wisdom with which God has made all creatures. And so we will know in what position to place ourselves in this creation. Let us hear now how Ben Sirach presents wisdom, not with reasoning, but personified. As in Hebrew, wisdom is said chochomah, and is feminine, and also in Greek, Sophia is feminine, and so in many other languages. The author presents wisdom as a woman, a beautiful, attractive woman, as an attractive young woman who wants to get everyone's attention. She wants to be hugged like a wife, since she can make the life of the one who receives her a home happy. Let us listen. Wisdom sings her own praises. Among her own people she proclaims her glory. In the assembly of the Most High she opens her mouth. In the presence of his host she tells of her glory. From the mouth of the Most High come forth and cover the earth like a mist. In the heights of heaven I dwelt, and my throne was in a pillar of cloud. Beautiful is a beautiful, wisdom is a beautiful woman. To whom is she offered as a wife? The text says it. To the people of Israel who are called Assembly of the Most High, the power, the legions, the Holy Assembly, the crowd of the elect, the blessed people. These people are the recipients of a wisdom that coming from heaven is far superior to that of the philosophers of Athens or Alexandria. Sirach's book was written when Hellenistic culture was spreading throughout the world. It was taught in every school, and even the youth of Jerusalem were in danger of being seduced. There were many beautiful things in this wisdom that was taught in school during Hellenistic time. But it had also many dark, negative aspects. And Ben Sirach wants to call the attention of his students to the danger that in their consciences may enter pagan moral proposals and idolatrous conception of the world and of life, and fears that if they fall in love with Hellenistic wisdom, they could repudiate the wisdom of the chosen people. To describe Solomon's falling in love with wisdom, the sacred author resorts to terminology of eros that was very rare in the Greek Bible. And so, Solomon says, "It is she whom I have loved, and I courted since my youth. I longed to make her my wife. I am in love with her beauty." The conviction that Ben Sira wants to instill in his students is this: only the one who marries the wisdom of the holy books of Israel can then discern what is good and beautiful in the Greco-Roman culture. The first thing is to fall in love with his wife, with this wife, who is the wisdom of Israel. And then you can admire the beauty of the other women and you won't lose your mind for them because you are totally involved in the wisdom of Israel. It is a very important message for us today also. We can understand the message. There are so many wisdom today, so many conceptions of life that are presented as beautiful, as attractive, and many are seduced. They search, and this is the danger, discover the beautiful things that exist in the wisdom that are around them. Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, there are many humanizing aspects that are beautiful. What is the danger? It is to lose your mind, your head for these wisdoms and forget that wisdom that perhaps since childhood have guided your life. For us Christians, it is the wisdom of the gospel. How is it that you lose your mind for this wisdom and perhaps even get divorced of the wisdom of the gospel? It is exactly what happens in spousal love. The tiredness of the spousal relationship, the difficulty of relating with the brothers and sisters of faith, the inability to keep alive the interest in the treasure that has been delivered to us. These people have not discovered, have not become aware of having received a treasure. Maybe it was due to a bad presentation of the wisdom of the gospel. And so many are attracted to other wisdom, to other humanisms, and they corner, they forget, they leave aside the wisdom that should guide their lives. If one does not keep alive the interest in this wife, which is the wisdom of the gospel, then they are attracted to other interests in their life. After being presented to the chosen people who were lucky enough to be able to contemplate the beauty of this wisdom, now wisdom speaks. Let us listen to what it says. Then the Creator of all gave me his command, and my Creator chose the spot for my tent. He said, "In Jacob make your dwelling, in Israel your inheritance." Before all ages, from the beginning, he created me, and through all ages I shall not cease to be. In the holy tent I ministered before him, and so I was established in Zion. In the city he loves, and he loves me. He gave me rest in Jerusalem, my domain. I struck root among the glorious people in the portion of the Lord, his heritage. In the assembly of the saints I put my dwelling. Wisdom is this beautiful young woman who tells us whom she has espoused, the people of Israel. God has offered his wisdom to all peoples, but only Israel understood how beautiful she was and has espoused her. The wisdom is identified with the Torah, the word of God that God has addressed to his people. Torah derives from the Hebrew verbs yara, which means to throw an arrow, that is, to show a direction, the right direction in life, the one that takes you to the goal, to the realization of yourself. And sin, hata, means to err the objective. One whose goal is accumulation of money has made a mistake in life. It is the sin. One whose goal is success, the pursuit of it at any cost, even deceiving others, it is a sin. He or she missed the objective. The Torah indicates the correct direction. This is wisdom, which, if it takes you by the hand, leads you to the goal. And the wisdom of God has settled in Israel as a wife. Ben-Sira is a son of these people and finds the visible expression of wisdom in the scroll of the law. In fact, for an Israelite, this scroll of the law is much more than a material object, than a book. And we see today in the synagogues, the Torah scroll is extracted from the Aron Kodesh. And the Aron Kodesh is the holy ark where the Torah scrolls are kept and is found in front of the synagogue. When the parchment is removed, they all stand up, they bow down, sing happily, and try to touch and kiss the scroll. And this love for this wife, represented by the roll, the scroll of the law, looks even clearer in the feast called Simchat Torah, which means the joy of Torah, celebrated in autumn immediately after the Feast of Tents. It is the day on which the liturgical year closes and the entire law is read, as so in the morning in the synagogue. The last chapter of the book of Deuteronomy is read first, is the book that closes the Torah, and then the first chapter of the book of Genesis is read also, and it is the beginning of the new liturgical year. And at that moment, the songs, the dances begin, and the Torah scrolls are embraced as a husband hugs the wife. And then the assembly does not remain in the synagogue, but go out into the streets dancing, singing, and hugging the Torah scroll in their arms. If the one who reads the text of Deuteronomy or the text of the book of Genesis is a male, he is called Hatana Torah, which means the husband of Torah. And if it is a woman, she is called Kalata Torah, that is the wife of Torah. The most beautiful image of the tenderness that this wisdom gives to its people is that of the spousal love. And so the psalmist in Psalm 119 says, "How much I love your law, O Lord! If your law was not my delight, I would lose myself in my misery." It is like the husband who has been lucky enough to find a wonderful woman and says, "If I hadn't found you, my life would make no sense. And now we ask ourselves, did the Torah given to Israel really contain all the wisdom of God? Had she shown herself in all her beauty? The answer is no. God has a complete manifestation of His wisdom, not in a book, but in a person. It is that person of which the gospel text of today speaks about. The revelation of God's wisdom is in Jesus of Nazareth, who came to reveal to us the love of the Father in heaven, all the beauty of God's face, that face disfigured by the false conception of God with an image of God that inspired fear. No, Jesus of Nazareth is wisdom that reveals the face of God. He is the embodied wisdom, that is the total man. We should no longer look in a book to get the beauty of this wisdom. As we contemplate Jesus of Nazareth, we contemplate the radiance of God's wisdom, and it is to this wisdom that we are invited to embrace, because this wisdom leads us to a full realization of our life. It makes us live as sons and daughters of God. I wish you all a good Sunday and a good week.
Timana.